Hi again, everybody. I'm Rob Rosenthal with AskTheLawyers.com, and this is a new episode of Ask the Lawyer. The Gulf Coast of Texas, and particularly Corpus Christi and South Padre Island, very popular tourist spots. And as with any vacation spot, though, there can be some dangers involved. And today we're going to ask the lawyer about these dangers and what options you have if you're injured while on vacation. And here to answer questions for us is attorney Greg Herrman of the Corpus Christi-based Herrman Herrman law firm. Greg, thank you for making some time for us today. I appreciate it.
Sure, Rob. I'm glad to be here.
So nobody wants to be injured or possibly have their vacation ruined, but this kind of thing happens. Tell us about some of the more common injuries you see of folks who are visiting the coast of Texas.
Sure. I kind of wrote some down here. Boating accidents, drownings, golf carts, ATVs, scooters, horseback riding on the beach, jet skis, water parks, parasailing, bicycles, things like that. In addition to, people just premises liability, trip and falls,
Right.
At places, car accidents, things like that.
So let's say I'm visiting Texas and I'm from out of state. I'm injured and I think I need to hire an attorney. Do I need to hire an attorney from Texas? Do I need to hire somebody from my own state? How does that work?
Yeah, if you got injured in Texas, you're going to want to hire a Texas attorney. And the reason is first of all, the Texas attorney is going to know the law of Texas. If you have to file suit, the local lawyer is going to know the local. Each court has its own little local rules, and so you're going to want a lawyer that knows the local rules. Plus, there's probably going to be witnesses, and they're going to need to be talked to, and so all that's going to help having a local lawyer. And the law that applies, well, plus the local lawyer will know what the juries are like, probably know the judges. But the law that's going to be applied will be Texas law if you got injured in Texas.
Okay. And I would imagine most people are not experts at trying to figure out, am I at fault? Is someone else at fault? Is there blame to go around? Is that the case when you need to find an attorney who can help you determine that?
Yeah, sure. In Texas, like a lot of places, if it's just a regular case, if you are more than 50% at fault, you cannot recover. So if a jury comes back and says you're 51% at fault, or 58 or 60 or whatever, you're barred. You don't get to recover at all. But no matter who the defendant is, their insurance company is always going to blame you. Again, trying to put at least 50% of the fault on you.
Right.
But generally, the way it works is in a comparative fault state like Texas. Let's say the jury comes back and says you're 20% at fault. You're still going to recover your damages. The judge is just going to subtract 20% of your damages away. So let's say they come back and they give you $100,000 and they say you're 20% at fault. The judge is going to subtract 20% of the 100, and so you're left with 80. So that's something that needs to be determined is, what percent of fault, are you? And if you're more than 50%, in most cases. Now, there is something called joint and several liability. We don't really need to get into that right now. But in your average case, it's just if you're more than 51%, you don't recover.
And so you mentioned it's best to get an attorney who's in Texas. What if I'm hurt and maybe then I go back home, whether it's in the state of Texas but away from the coast or in another state, and then I realize, you know what, maybe I do need to talk to somebody. It's probably better to talk to somebody while I'm still on location, is it not?
I would think so. Generally, time is your enemy,
Right.
And the longer the time goes after an accident, evidence disappears, witnesses disappear, witnesses forget. If it's some kind of boating accident, there's going to be hopefully a Coast Guard investigation, especially if you're seriously injured. So you want to get the Coast Guard report, you want to get all the witnesses. And generally for a plaintiff, the longer your case takes, the worse your case is going to get. If you talk to a local lawyer and get him involved immediately, he can go out and contact the Coast Guard in case they haven't been contacted, or make sure he gets the Coast Guard report. He can interview the local witnesses. He can go out and take pictures of the scene. There's just lots of things that you can do, and the quicker you do it, the better.
And let's assume it's determined, okay, I do have a case and we're going to pursue it. do I need to plan on making a lot of trips back and forth from wherever my home base is to Texas?
It depends on the case. Most cases settle before going to trial. Now, in your particular case, maybe we do have to file suit. You can probably answer all the discovery and stuff, through email
Okay.
or we can FedEx you the interrogatories, request for reduction, things like that. But you may have to come down for a deposition, and if it goes to trial, you may have to go to trial. But again, the vast majority of cases settle, and so no, I mean, you don't have to plan on making a bunch of trips down here.
It seems like a lot of the activities that people do while on vacation may have some level of danger involved. And boy, you got to sign a lot of paperwork before you can ever go out and do that parasailing or whatever it is. Does that absolve the merchant from any sort of responsibility because you signed that release?
Yeah, most of the time the answer to that's no. Now, Texas does have a very conservative legislature and a very conservative Supreme Court, and they've been over backwards to help out the corporations and help out the defendants and rule against the plaintiffs. But as a general rule, if those are what's called adhesion contracts, and that there's a bunch of fine print that's in legalese and people don't understand it, and you have to sign it in order to participate in the activity, most of the time they cannot absolve themselves of liability just by saying we cannot be held responsible. But it depends on the situation. It depends on the bargaining power of the individuals. It depends on the level of knowledge of the parties. There's a lot of things that go into it.
And what is your advice if people are going to do things while they're on vacation, maybe to try and avoid some of these things before they happen? Do you have some advice, things to look out for, precautions to take?
Probably I'd say number one thing is I'd see what kind of physical condition you're in. I wouldn't be trying to do stuff you wouldn't do at home.
Right.
If you're just not in a good enough physical condition, I'd probably watch somebody else doing it a bunch of times before I'd try it, and maybe ask lots of questions. Just kind of general common sense type
Common
stuff.
sense. Now, let's say I'm injured, Greg, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? Can you give me like a quick step by step? I'm assuming the first thing to do is get some medical attention if you're injured.
Sure. If you're capable of it before you even leave the scene, though, I would try, if you get your phone with you, most people have a camera in the phone, I'd start taking pictures, document the scene. If you got injuries, take pictures of those, document those. If there's witnesses around, get their names at least, and hopefully a phone number or something. So if we need to go back and recreate what happened or reconstruct it, we've got somebody to call other than just you, because you may not remember things the way everybody else does, or your version may not sound, it may sound a little too fantastical, or it may not be believable. Mm-hmm. The defendant's certainly going to probably have a different view or perspective or story than you do. So if there's some witnesses around, at least try to get their names, if nothing else, and hopefully, their phone numbers. If you can, if you got a little camera on your phone, a video camera, put it on video and have them give you a quick statement. Now, if you're injured very seriously, obviously we don't expect you to do that.
Sure.
But if you could do that, do that, and then go get immediate medical attention. And then as soon as you get a chance, call a local lawyer so he can get out there and he can try to track down witnesses and talk to the defendant, take statements, take photographs, document the scene, things like that.
Great. That's helpful advice. I think you helped a lot of people today. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Sure, Rob. Glad I could help.
There we go. That's going to do it for this episode of Ask the Lawyer. My guest has been attorney Greg Herrman of the Herrman Herrman law firm in Corpus Christi, Texas. Please take a second, click on the button at the bottom of the screen to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you'll know about future episodes as soon as they happen. And if you want the best information about what to do if you're injured while on vacation, or you're ready to choose a lawyer that lawyers choose, please visit AskTheLawyers.com. Thanks for watching. I'm Rob Rosenthal with AskTheLawyers.com.